Hello. So Tiger Woods is alive. He's not dead. He broke his tibia. So he won't be able to play competitively probably ever again. People are going to say for a long time will be a comeback. I'm going to tell you probably never again. All right, he might be the greatest of his time, but not of all time. He's not going to break Jack Nicklaus' record, right? So that's all. That's going to be squashed. He can play recreationally. He could be like the Tony Romo of golf now in the sidelines, sportscast and stuff like that. People aren't going to want to say it, but there I said it. All right, you can hate me or not. It doesn't matter. I said it. There you go. All right. Moving forward, let me tell you a story. Okay, and you tell me if you think that this would be okay if this was Trump or any other person, right? Especially during the Me Too movement and all that other shit, right? You tell me, okay? Let's play strip poker. I should have been shocked by the governor's crude comment, but I wasn't. We were flying home from an October 2017 event in Western New York on his taxpayer-funded jet. He was seated facing me, so close our knees almost touched. His press aide was to my right, a street trooper behind us. That's exactly what I was thinking, I responded sarcastically and awkwardly. I tried to play it cool, but in that moment, I realized just how awkward I had become. Governor Andrew Cuomo has created a culture within his administration where sexual harassment and bullying is so pervasive that it's not only condoned but expected. And his inappropriate behavior towards women was an affirmation that he liked you, that you must be doing something right. He used intimidation to silence his critics. And if you dare to speak up, you would face consequences. Does that sound great? That's why I panicked on the morning of December 13th. While I was enjoying a weekend with my husband and 6-year-old daughter, I spontaneously decided to share a small part of the truth I had hidden for so long in shame and never planned to disclose. The night before, a former Comer staffer confided to me that she too had been the subject of governor's workplace harassment. Her story mirrored my own. Seeing his name floated as potential candidate for U.S. Attorney General, the highest law enforcement official in the land, set me off. In a few tweets, I told the world what a few close friends, family members, and my therapist had known for years. Andrew Cuomo abused his power as governor to sexually harass me, and just the idea I'd done with so many other women. As messages from journalists buzzed on my phone, I laid in bed, unable to move. I finally had decided to speak up, but at what cost? Parts of a supposed confidential personal file, which I had never seen, were leaked to the media in an effort to smear me. The governor's loyalist called around town, asking about me, his henchman. Last week, Assemblyman Ron Kim spoke up publicly about the intimidation and the abuse that he faced from governor and his aides. As Mayor de Blasio remarked, the bullying is nothing new. There are many more of us, but most of us are afraid to speak up. It is time that we all rise and speak up now. It's time, because otherwise this kind of stuff, this culture of intimidation, continues to just flourish. I'm compelled to tell my story because no woman should feel forced to hide their experience of workplace intimidation, harassment, humiliation, not by the governor or anybody else. My first encounter with the governor came at January 6, 2016 at an event at Madison Square Garden to promote the new Pennsylvania Station Fairly complex project. After his speech, he stopped to talk to me. I was new on the job and surprised by how much attention he paid to me. Right? My boss soon informed me that the governor had a crush on me. It was an uncomfortable but all too familiar feeling, the struggle to be taken seriously by a powerful woman who tied my worth to my body and my appearance. Shame. Shameful. Stephanie Benton, director of governor offices, told me in an email on December 14, 2016, that the governor suggested I look up images of Lisa Shields, his rumored former girlfriend, because we could be sisters, and I was the better looking sister. The governor began calling me Lisa in front of colleagues. It was degrading. Not only abusive, but degrading. I had complained to friends that the governor would go out of his way to touch me on my lower back, arms, and legs. How creepy. His senior staff began keeping tabs on my whereabouts. He's a sexist pig, and you should avoid being alone with him. My mother texted me on November 4th, 2016. Wow. She even has right here. Right here. The governor's behavior made me nervous, but I didn't really feel him until December 16th when the state employees gathered at the State Empire Plaza Convention Center in Albany to celebrate the holidays of our year's work. After his remarks, the governor spotted me in a room filled with hundreds of people. Waiting to shake his hand, he began to approach me. I excused myself from coworkers, moved upstairs to a more distant area of the party. Minutes later, I received a phone call from an unlisted number. It was the governor's body person. He told me to come to the Capitol because the governor wanted to see me. Wow, so it's almost like the Clinton era, right? I exited the elevator to see the body person waiting for me. He walked me down the hall to the governor's. Are there cameras here? I asked him. I remembered my mother's text warning me the months before. I worried that I would be left alone with the governor. I didn't know why I was there or how it would end. I was escorted into the governor's office, past the desk of administrative assistants, into a room with a large table of historical artifacts. The door closed behind me. It was my first time in his Albany office. The governor entered from another door. We were alone. How creepy. As he showed me around, I tried to maintain my distance. He paused at one point and smirked as he showed me off a cigar box. He told me that the President Clinton had given it to him while he served as Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. The 2-decade-old reference to President Clinton's affair with Monica Lewinsky was not lost on her. It was not lost on her. The governor must have sensed my fear because he finally let me out of his office. I tried to rationalize this incident in my head. At least he didn't touch me. That made me feel safer. But it keeps on going on. He kept on trying to contact her and everything else, and just kept on going and just going. And in his wrath, he would just go after these Ron Kim guys. Everybody else, he has a vice grip in New York, a vice grip. That's why he tried to hide everything else, right? And that's why he's not afraid of, just like he said in this news, calling the legislator or everything else, because he just tells them misinformation. And that's why they're demanding that he releases all the information of the Cuomo death, because he's been killing a lot of it with this mandate from March 25th to May 10th. We have right here the Cuomo mandate was he required, right? He's saying that it was just a precautionary, didn't really need it, right? But yet he's had a requiring because he had a $10 million campaign donations from the hospitals union and everything else, and the nursing homes. That's why he gave them immunity with the mandate that they would be criminally unliable from any deaths or any liability from lawsuits or anything from that, right? And we know that. That's why he's not speaking about anything. He's just like it's false, right? And everything else. He had them to readmit patients from hospitals and late from March 25th to May 10th. Andrew Cuomo said it was based on federal guidance, which prohibited discrimination based on COVID positive diagnosis. But the state health and federal told us that residents were admitted to nursing homes during that time, not as an overflow to facilities because they were there for COVID-19, right? Because they had the traveling centers, they had the state emergency, they had everything else. So they didn't need that or anything, and there was no overflow because they weren't even being used. He just sent them right back there, right? And that's what people are asking for. Why did you do that? And why did you cover that up? And why aren't you giving the numbers of the people that died there or in the hospital? And why are you using it as one number? Right? He tried to say that it was an anticipatory rule, that they weren't needed because the nursing home beds, we were always had hospital beds. Then why did you send them right back? If you said you always had hospital beds, then why is there a need to send them right back there and you send them back there? The New York State Health Department said at least 6,326 COVID-19 positive people were admitted to the nursing homes following the COVID mandate, right? On May 21st, right? After that mandate was lifted up, after probably some attention got there, he lifted that mandate up. As reported, he reported only 4,500 recovering COVID patients being let back in there. But on July, the state health department found that 6,326 patients were let back in there. So there's miscommunication there. He's giving one information to somebody else and another to somebody else, right? So it's almost like cooking the books. Ron Kim exposed that Andrew Cuomo's hospital officials the $10 million donation was given there, and that's probably why he gave leniency, right? And that's why Andrew Cuomo had ran out the clock for the Trump administration and the Trump DOJ, hoping that there would be another administration and everything else, and they could just cover it up, sweep it under the rug, and he'll get a fourth term. That's what he was hoping for, right? That nobody would figure this out, that nobody would care, that he said, nobody, they all died, who cares, it doesn't matter, right? They died at the hospital, they died that's apathy, that's not empathy, and that's sad. People deserve answers, they deserve it for closure, Andrew, right? Why couldn't you, Andrew, give the same information? If there was nothing to hide, it's the truth, why couldn't you give the same information to the DOJ, to the state legislators, and to the public? It's just one simple question, right? Why no empathy for the families? Right? That's why we need a FBI investigation into Cuomo and all that kind of stuff, right? And into the matter of the Cuomo, of the COVID death and of the sexual harassment stuff. It's not great. It's not good. It doesn't look good, right? At all. It's not great for him at all. And now you have reports of Biden reopening, right? They had the Trump facilities, right? They were saying, oh, we're not going to do the same thing as the old administration, but yet they're caught up in another lie to circle back, right? Circle back, but they're not circling back to that because they don't want to tell you that it's a complicated and nuanced issue on the border, right? And it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3, ABC, right? And that's hard. But yet, they went from putting kids in cages to now putting kids in boxes, right? Look at these boxes. Right there. And if they kids like that and can come from the border, 16, 17, no social distance, no none of that, why can't our kids be in school like that? Why are we locked down everything else and the border and these people can just come illegally and just go right into there and live life like it's Florida all around America? Why is that cool? Right? That's why we need to open up America, open up our society, get smart, and start electing people that actually care about it, right? Like President Trump and everybody else, right? And I love you people. At the same bad time, same bad channel.